Okay, so let's start. So I'm happy to welcome you to this General Assembly of the Europlanet Society. And in fact, it's also the first General Assembly of the Europlanet Association, but I will come to that later. So we have a busy agenda today. So first, we will have to talk a little about the status of the society and why do we need an association and how we get to there. Then, as you know, and that has been discussed a lot of time during the week, we are looking for people who are willing to engage, and we will talk about that a bit later. Then we will have short reports from the different committees hosted in the Europlanet Society. We will speak about the memberships and the status of the finance, where the next EPSC will be held. Then Nigel will we will present some results and status of the ERIM. And then, as was mentioned the first day, we will ask some of you to present some of the results of the thinking or the preliminary thinking you have on the different challenges. So first, some words about the society. So you know that Europlanet Society tried to promote the planetary science and all related fields for the benefit of the community. And the community, that's you. So we are there for you, you are there for us. So the aim is to really to expand the community across Europe. That was said already. We want a diverse community. We want to represent the full community, not only a part of it. We want to also be an active contributor to the planetary sector, including industry involvement, and that we want to develop at different levels. Of course, international, we need to discuss with our colleagues from abroad Europe, but of course the national and then the regional scale are very important. We have different means to contact the membership and to stay aware of what is organized within the society. The first place to look for information is to go to the website. That's the very easy name to remember, Europlanet Society. And then the next one, which might be a bit new for some of you, that's the membership at Europlanet Society. This is very important. I remind you that we have people of ESF here in the room. If you want to have more information, please contact them. We are editing newsletter to promote our activities. This newsletter is also your newsletter. Please send us content. If you have written a paper, have done an activity within the Europlanet Society landscape, contact us, contact the people who are preparing the newsletter. Up to now, we have been using the Slack to try to promote more active discussions. That was probably not the very efficient way, or it didn't work as we expected to. And I think that we have heard already the idea to go to Discord and to help really active discussion between the members. And then, of course, you know, we are some of the people in the society are very active, so please follow us on the different social media. So some words about the organization of the society. So as you know, society means members, but having members we need to have a structure to allow discussion between the members and a realization of activities. So for really managing all the, I would say, day-to-day activities and administrative side of the society, we have an executive office, which is the ESF. ESF is also organizing or supervising the organization of the APSC conference. And that's on the gray box on the left side. And then you have below a series of different committees supported by the society, including the regional hubs. Okay, so what is the next step and what is the association? This is a way for the society to be able to really be partner and an active partner in projects. So you probably all know, if you want to be a partner in a Horizon Europe project or H2020 project before, you need to be recognized, to have a legal number, to be a legal entity. This is the why we have created this association. So the association has this legal character that will allow us to participate to projects. We want to do that very transparent and most and very easy for you to understand. And basically, so the association has an executive board, as every association should have general assemblies. And it was decided from the beginning that all this will be just a mirror on what is happening in the society. So meaning that our members, you, have always been asked to select the person within the executive board for elections. That will continue the same way. That this executive board that will be elected by you, members, will be the same executive board as the association. So that's a transparent one-to-one. There is no additional intricacies or secrets or whatever. Legally, this association has to be funded in one of the countries of Europe. And it was decided to fund this association in Belgium, to be sure that we are close to all the European institutions, so that we have a direct link to them. So, as you know, our institutes, so the Belgian Institute for Space Aeronomy is heavily involved in the Europlanet Society. So it was like a natural way to associate the association, or to have the legal address of the association in our institute. So that's what is shown in this. And you see that all the rest of the structure of the society doesn't change. We still have an executive office. This is still the ESF. We will continue, of course, to organize the APSC, and we still have our committees. Of course, this is also something which should be discussed. You are our members. You can decide of the validity of having such and such activities or such and such committees. But for the moment, nothing has changed. We just have added this association. In fact, yeah, I will just get to the next slide, and then maybe we could have some questions about the association topics. But this is just to show you what will happen in the next month, because of course, it's not trivial to one day decide that we have an association and then the next day having a working association. This will take some months, and this is explained here. So basically, you see that we will have the next step will be after this meeting. This meeting is very important for us because this is where you members will really help us to write the roadmap of the association and the society. We will brainstorm on what has to be adapted in the society. This will be further discussed at the next General Assembly, where there will be also something very important, which are the elections of the new board members. And then 1 year later, we hope, I think within 1 year and a half, to have finalized this new roadmap, so that will be discussed at the General Assembly in 2024. So I think I will stop here for any questions you might have on the association, and I will try to answer. So any fears that you might have, any doubts, any questions, any so apparently it was clear. We will have also have to learn how to use this tool. I think that's an expression that Didier is using a lot. The association is a tool for the society. So it's a tool to get funding. How, we will have to learn. But basically, in the, I would say, the short term, mid-term, the idea is to get involved in international projects as partners and slowly have more confidence or more knowledge on what we can do, and why not at some point be coordinator of international projects. But we'll see. That also depends on you. Okay. Anyway, we are here for the rest of the week, so if you have questions, do not hesitate. So the next step, which is very important, that's the renewal of the executive board. As you know, the society was created in 2019, and then after that we had elections, but basically the people who were presented themselves were not really, didn't know really where they were going to and what they had to do and how long they had to stay. And then you know that COVID struck, and we are still there. And I think it's a long time. We need renewal, we need new people, we need new ideas. That's not the intention for a group of people to remain at the head of the society. It's your society, we want new people. And here you have the current situation, and you see that we have Nigel who is our president, who is slowly quitting. You see, I'm talking, he is not. So, yes. Yes. Beside that, you see that there's only 2 people with whose names are in black, who are, I would say, has been elected or have been, maybe stupid enough to accept to be elected for the next term. So the black people will stay, but all the red people are possibly being renewed Of course, some of them, and we hope so, will stay because we need kind of, we need to transmit the information to the new people. But you see that we are looking for people. So don't be shy. Come, we don't bite. We are just looking for people who are willing to give a little of their time and energy for the society to strive. So think about it. The real elections will take place next autumn, in September. That's the next slide. Okay, voila. So this means that if you are ready to submit your name, you can submit names of people you think might be good candidates, but before, don't forget to ask them, at least. We should have some names for the end of the summer. That's what we came to. And we hope to have some people willing to do that. And so the election will be done remotely, as what was done the last time, and the results will be announced at the next General Assembly, which will be also virtual. As you know, this year APSC is with DPS and is in the States. It sounds complicated to have our General Assembly during that meeting, so we will do that separately. So we said that executive board members can stand for re-election, but do not hesitate if you want to just come and work with us. I think that's it from me. Any questions on? Yes, Salmas?
Thank you. Is it because there is election for executive board, does it also mean election for the committee and hub chairs, or there are two different things?
So it's different. I think the time scale is different, but it should be done. There are issues in all of the hubs. There also in most of the hubs, it's still the same people. We need to renew that. Certainly, for example, in Benelux, we need to find a new chair. Who is willing to do that? I don't know. But in each of the hubs, we have people who have served a long time and would like to renew. In each of the committees, that's the same. We need to find new people. We have EPEC here. Please, EPEC, show up. You are the driving force of the society, so you should be in all of those committees and the executive board. There's no age limitation. Yes.
Please, regarding the nomination for the committees, the page is open and the nominations are open at any time, at least for the time being. So the page is on the membership website, and if you're a member, and then you can join. You can log in, and then submit nominations. It can be you or anyone else. But of course, please do let the person you nominate know that you are nominating them and have their approval first.
Yeah. Okay.
Also, so we'll launch the call for nominations for the executive board next week after ERIM. So if you have any questions, please approach any of the board members if you want to put yourself forward of someone you know. And just for your questions about the committee, there is no strict process for all the committee chairs. We're not required to have elections for the committee chairs. So they are appointed by the executive board members. But if you want to have elections within your committees, it's no problem. We can organize that. But we first need nominations. Okay.
So just to be clear, the only conditions to to apply is to be a member of the society. No age, color, whatever, belief. We just need your time and your energy. Okay, I think the next, that's you, Solmas.
So, I'm always very short for this podium since I stand here. Yeah, I want to represent you the diversity committee of Europlanet. Let's first see who we are. I have only a few photos. It's not everyone in the committee, but so we are consist of a chair who is weak person. She couldn't be here today, so I represent her. I am the deputy chair. I'm Sonma Zadeli. We have a secretary, Marina. We have someone who represents the executive board. For now, is Ann-Karin, who is also a member then of our diversity committee. We have a representative from EPEC. And since EPSC is the main activity of Europlanet, we always have also a member of the LOC who is sitting in the diversity committee, so that when we talk about EPSC topics, this person can also be our liaison with the LOC, actually. Then each regional hub has a diversity officer. And as you can see all the names, if you have any topic, if you want to talk about anything, you can either reach out to your officer of your regional hub, you can reach out to the names on top, you can write to me, you can write at diversity@europlanet.com. You see that there are 3 open positions. We are looking for people for the Germany hub, for Italy hub, for Ireland and UK. So if you're sitting here and you're thinking, that might be interesting, please stand up, join in. We have monthly meetings. Let me show you quickly what we do. So we often, it's mainly, here is mainly focused on EPSC because, it's really the biggest event that Europlanet has. So all the chair guidelines, all the convener guidelines, all the training documents that is on the EPSC webpage, diversity committee reads through it, gives comments. Sometimes we even draft those. We take care of, when there was a support for Ukraine statement of Europlanet, we read that, we comment on that. Since last year, we organized childcare for Europlanet activities. I know this year for ERIM, it wasn't very good. I take responsibility, sorry. I have myself a little kid, so, but we learn from experience, right? We now organize a silent room. So these are all inputs we got from you. Someone said, why not having a silent room? And then there you go. The next EPSC, we had a silent room. So if you have any idea, anything you feel like is missing, why this text is written in that way, I feel offended as a woman, I feel offended as an underrepresentative country, or anything that crosses your mind, you can come and talk to us. We're just there to organize these events. And that's it. So yeah, please reach out to us, find us in events. We have a booth, we have a website. Yeah, we're willing to hear from you. That's it. Thank you.
Okay. Yes. Hi all. I'm Federica Duras, and I'm the chair of the Outreach Committee. So just a few words about all the outreach activities we are doing in the Outreach Committee, which is quite active. Actually, I'm very happy about my committee. So I want to thank you all the people that monthly comes and talk to each other, to sharing new ideas and carrying on these outreach activities. So as we just saw in for the Diversity Committee, the main outreach activities are for the Europlanet Science Congress. So we have the examples of our past outreach activities in the past few years. So we have the Europlanet Science Congress Course Life for Schools that you may all know. So we have scientists and researchers going to schools virtually, but last year in presence. So it was very nice, and you can see pictures of examples of we that went to the schools and had some activities or speeches or workshops in different languages. So it was very, very nice and very funny. And then we have the two contests. So they're inspired by other world on the top. It's a contest open to almost everybody who wants to share their ideas about space and science using art. And then the Planetary Science for All, which is a contest about video, so a very short video, a 4-minute video, to describe your idea of research. Then we have the diversity outreach, so it's like a sort of related collaborative outreach activity with the diversity committee, which is Wiki Editathon. And yes, you can approach the diversity committee to know all the information about it, and in particular Arianna. And then the collaboration with NASA, which started 2 years ago, and with the Observe the Moon Night events. We started this collaboration to make the people aware about the moon. So helping the people observing the moon, photographing the moon, and so on with videos, animations, and texts. Then, yes, some examples of activities within the hubs, because in these days, I mean, the hubs topic seems very important. So the hubs are the places where outreach activities, but I mean, all the activities born, and the places where we can get the activities directly to the public. So a few examples, for example, from Brussels, and we just knew that we will have a new edition of the Soapbox Science in a few days. Then an example from the Italian hub with the Planets in a Room, I mean, which was funded in 2017. And then you can see here in festivals or science congresses, and which is being used in Italy in the schools just to train students how to use a toolkit to make outreach. And then an example from the French hub with the Togo under the stars, which was amazing because the scientists from France went to Togo to talk about astronomy, to show the kids, to show the sky to kids and local people. And then my last slide is about the outreach activities at an international level, but also at a collaborative level. So for what concerns the international level, we have educational resources. In this case, you can see our first series of educational resources, which was about Mars. But then we have the newest one resources are about the icy moons. So please go to the webpage because they're amazing. They have been translated in different languages, so we can reach a very huge public in different countries, and we run a survey about the use of the resources in different countries in Europe. Then we have prize and fundings, which of course are of interest in our community because Europlanet allows people to develop new ideas and gives prizes to innovative projects and ideas. And then at the collaborative level, which is important in this group, in this community, we have examples of using outreach and the Europlanet tools, like for example, the telescope network for outreach purposes. One is the live events in Italy, for which we use the Europlanet telescope network to make people look at the sky in other countries in Europe. For example, last year we used the telescope network to look at the eclipse. So with the collaboration with Estonia and Lithuania, we succeeded in looking at the eclipse in different ways, because Italy was not the best place at the time. And then, for example, the participation of Europlanet in international festivals and events. So a few weeks ago, Europlanet went to an event in Switzerland, the Fantasy Basel, and it was an occasion to show all the Europlanet outreach and non-outreach activities to a general public. But then we have, as a collaborative outreach activities also, they came to my mind, for example, the activities in Dubai, or for example, the activities in Africa. So very numerous things of outreach activities that we are carrying on, and that I'm very happy of. So thank you.
Okay, so it's me next. Apologies about my voice, by the way. I'll try my best. So as I think most of you know, I'm one of the many faces we have here from EPEC this week. Like I've said many times, and it still stands, please come and say hi to me if you're interested in what we're doing. But we're here for kind of a bit of understanding the state of what EPEC is and what people want and where we want to take it going forward. So we've already had quite a lot of really useful brainstorming sessions, one again this morning, for example. And a lot of interesting things have come out of this. I'll tell you first about EPEC, and then I'll tell you about where we think we might want to move in the coming months. So first of all, I think one critical thing to point out is EPEC is quite self-driven, in that Europlanet have given EPEC over the past several years quite a lot of freedom to do what they want, which has been great. It's fostered a really nice community of planetary scientists across Europe and now across the world. So we had our introduction to some of the working groups at EPEC yesterday evening, and we had EPEC alumni calling in from the US, for example. And this was really nice for the younger members of EPEC and the new members of EPEC who are master's students, maybe looking at what they can do after their PhDs. And this is one thing that kind of has come out and underscored everything that we've talked about so far, is this desire for a network and a community and a society, which is a nice coincidence because that's why we're here. But we think we have a lot of working groups, which I'll talk about in a second. But one thing we want to try to look at is a more centralized EPEC, where people have an opportunity to get to know everyone in the society, where it's maybe a teensy bit less segregated into working groups, but the working groups are still used as a powerhouse to actually do stuff and create an output. So EPEC encompasses a lot of different activities, and I'm just going to run through a quick few of those. So obviously we have a couple of co-chairs at the moment, Ines and Erica, a treasurer, there's a diversity, outreach and communications subcommittees within EPEC, and then there's an early careers network and an EPSC, EPEC EPSC network. So these are responsible for lots of different things, so it's best to maybe show you on this slide. But for example, at EPSC, those of you who have been before will know that EPEC have a dedicated personal program, which is great, because one word that has come out, and not in a bad way, is a feeling of masters and young PhD students feeling a little bit intimidated by the community if it's their first big conference, or if it's their first time talking to quite experienced researchers. So the EPEC EPSC gender is something that people have said they're very happy with, as a chance to kind of take a little dipping your toes in the water in a conference and doing your practice presentations and things, and educating yourselves at the workshops that these guys do. So this is a very active working group, and anyone who will be at EPSC, I'd encourage you to engage with the EPSC. So Joanna's here, for example, as the co-chair of this working group. I'd encourage you to go and say hi. Maybe you have something you can offer at EPSC. There's also a podcast that the communications guys have launched. So if you listen to podcasts, I'd encourage you to go check it out. I'm sure it'll be where you're listening to your podcasts. Video competitions and opportunities for PhD students to showcase their research and also to showcase each other. So for example, this monthly Raise Your Profile working group, where people can give a quick highlight of their research, and all the other people within EPEC can see this. And you guys can all see this too, by the way, on the EPEC website. It might also trickle to the main Europlanet website. The mentoring support is also something that's come out as a highlight of our discussions of what people want from EPEC. So again, this opportunity to understand from this wealth of knowledge and experience in the room, not in a bad way, but in a good way, what they can do to make their presentations better, to fit in better in the community and contribute to planetary science. Other things that have come from what we want to do, and if anyone has any advice on these or something they think they could talk to us about, then please come up to us. But for example, yeah, the small centralized EPEC, an opportunity to do maybe more virtual workshops. So these workshops at EPSC seem to be something that are quite useful, and a chance for EPEC to do more of these would be good. So again, if anyone has anything to offer on that, then please come and talk to me or one of the EPEC guys this week. That would be great. And a chance to more regularly, casually and structurally catch up with one another, again, building this sense of society. So this is what we're working on, and I'll be around all week if anyone wants to come talk to me, as are the rest of the EPEC guys. Thanks.
Next one. Okay. Next talk is about the hub. We had a very nice discussion yesterday and today of the role of the hub, the role of the network, of the hub network in the operationality of the society. I think we will have at the end of this assembly discussion with people who had thematics on that, but I can say that there were a lot of good ideas and we need probably to rethink how we organize the hub, because there are a lot of committee also in the hub. We need to simplify, I think, the objective of the hub. The other big problem was communication between the hub. It was not really easy because we do not have all the position fulfilled for the moment. Then that's the first priority, is to find people who want to be invested some of their time to the hub. We have this new communication platform, the membership platform, which probably solve a bit the problem of communication, because people will have access, more easily access to the community. Then, as Anne-Carine said, I encourage people to discuss with the European Science Foundation to see this tool. They can explain you how to use it, and I think in the next coming week and months, it will be really a nice tool to communicate between all the hubs and all the members of the society. Then we have a network of 10 hubs, and you see that we miss some share. But Benelux, yes, Anne-Carine is leaving as director of Europlanet, then we need to find another person. But okay, we will for Benelux, for example, we will organize election inside. But as it was said previously, you can go to the website and propose your name for to participate to a hub. With always I recall sometimes the last 2 days that. Somebody can be part of 2 hubs, and then that could also create some synergies between the hub. If some person are working for 2 hubs of gave support to other hub. Then we have also different. We have the hub, the network of hub, as a tool for to operate the society, but we have also different. You saw in the different view graph that we have some committees, industry policy, with Marcel as leading this committee, and we were really. This committee was really proactive to have contact with European Commission and there were some activities organized to present Europlanet at that level. We participate to Europlanet participate to some exposition, and then with other space agency, and then we can show what is Europlanet and that Europlanet exists. There is a community of planetary scientists and industrial, and then it was really the last 18 months really proactive for industry, but that's also a major challenge for the society. We had also some workshop today to discuss how to integrate industry and policy, because at a higher level, I think it's concomitant to have industry and policy. At the level of the hub, it's still difficult. We have to really define what will be the objective of the hub for the interaction of industry. It's a matter of the discussion, and it's a really important point. And we receive some good questions about that, and then we will have to synthesize, because for the roadmap that we will write after, this dimension is really important. And we, as we said during the meeting, do we have to have a top-down approach or a bottom-up approach? And that's a matter of discussion. This is something really to define. For the policy, what can I add is that we had effectively debate. We had a dinner with the major director of space agency presenting, and Europlanet was presented, that we are now, but we have to increase our visibility. And as Karen said, the fact that with this new association, this legal association located in Brussels, really near the Commission and also the agency office, we can be much more proactive. And we are there, then we can really increase the synergy between that level of power, if I can say that. And but what can I say when I participate, that we are now, and during the exposition we had a lot of interaction, even with parliamentary people who went to the exposition. And then I think now we have to consolidate that as soon as possible. Then we have to do that. Concerning the finance, I'm the treasurer of the society, and thanks Jonas to make the slides. Then we have the income of the society are not so huge. The membership is not really the main source of funding for the society. The main source is the EPSC outcome. We will, for this year, we have a budget, and I think we will not have problem to continue the same level of support. The only problem that we could have in 2034 is that we do not organize EPSC this year, and then we will not have income. Then the year 2024 is really challenging. But we have the transition between the end of the ERI project and the activation of the association to work on to try to find some funding in order to reduce the risk of the operationality of the society in 2024. We are already thinking about some source of funding, but probably in September we can give you more information on that. You have the graphs to show you the balance of the account for the society. I will not show the EPSC because it's not the place to speak for that. And okay, if I have some question, but probably at the end of the presentation. Thank you.
Actually, before I talk about the executive office, maybe Marcel, you want to say a few words about the industry as the chair? I don't know if it. Yeah.
Jonas, hi everyone. I'm Marcel. I've met many of you in the past, but what we're doing is a series of activities around involving academia and industry in a number of activities in the context of planetary science. Now, it's not an obvious area of work. Planetary science and industry don't necessarily mix in an easy way, except for the known cases of big space missions built by the big space agencies. But the reality is there's a lot of work that's happening. There's a lot of opportunities for early career people as well. We will be joining the EPEC session tomorrow morning with respect to industry and early careers. And then tomorrow afternoon, we'll be holding a session with a number of industrial participants, especially focused on Central Europe, will be attending and participating and presenting their work. So for those of you who've got some interest in working, not just in the context of academia, but also working closer with companies and industry, that's an opportunity for you to come along and participate in that session. And in general, what we've seen is that there is a pressure to increase the interactions between academia and industry, and that's something that's coming from the funding agencies usually. So whether we like it or not, that's something that we need to be ready for, or we need to have some ideas for. And so participating in these conversations can be quite helpful, and we'd love to get the input from the community. Okay, thanks.
Apparently there's some questions online, so we just have a couple of more slides on the executive office and the committee funding, and we'll take all the questions online after that. Before I move on to the executive office, I'd just like to highlight from the finance presentation that we set out every year 45,000 for funding, and as you can see on the graph, we use only a fraction of that. So please, we have committee funding schemes that are online. Please submit projects so we can use that funding effectively. All right, so my name is Jonas Laidon. I work at the European Science Foundation, which is located in Strasbourg in France. It's a non-for-profit association, and it deals with the day-to-day life activities of the Europlanet Society. So currently it is the host organization of the Europlanet Society, but as Anne-Karen mentioned, we will transfer that into the association, and the ESF will only be the executive office coordinating the activities. So the team has expanded in recent years, and I'm doing the coordination of the Europlanet Societies, but now we have 3 excellent colleagues at ESF that support many of the different aspects of Europlanet activities. So we have Jean-David Bodenan, who deals with more the technical stuff. So if you have some opportunities to talk to him about the membership website or any other things about the Europlanet Society, please go talk to him. I know that some of you already did that, so that's excellent. Please continue to do so. We have Courtney Allison, who is our communication expert at ESF and deals with all the communication activities for the Europlanet Society and EPSC. And so please talk to her, especially about the main website, posting posts on the website, sending newsletter, and send us any activities that you have that you want us to showcase on the website or in the newsletters. And then we have Anna Thoman, who is our administrator at ESF. So she will deal with all the more administrative matters relating to the Europlanet Society, especially how you can use your budget to process all your payments, etc. So very important person for you to know. So if you have any questions about all or to use your community budget or to request for payments for some of your activities, please reach out to her and contact her. So what do we do at the European Science Foundation as the executive office for the Europlanet Society? So starting next year, we'll have actually a more formal approach to that, what we do from year to year, and also what the Europlanet Society has done for the past year. So we'll publish on a yearly basis a region report that you can find on the website about the society activities and the executive office reports of what we did over the last year. So we do the management, so we do the scientific secretariat for the Europlanet Society. We support the 14 Europlanet committees and the working groups organizing all the meetings, taking minutes and, well, anything they need basically. And we coordinate the organization of the EPSC jointly with Copernicus. So we coordinate more the activities of the committee and with the scientific community, and Copernicus is more the legwork and organizing with the venues and the more practical matters of EPSC. We also do all the communication activities for Europlanet, so for the Europlanet Society website, newsletter, and any sort of communication material. For example, all the posters that you see behind you, and we invite you to go and have a look, and that explains everything about the society. So it's some of the stuff we do at the executive office. And we also manage all the international communication channels, so mailing lists. So if you have anything, please let us know. And we also manage all the email groups. So I'm sure you know, but all the committees at each email address you can contact. So it redistributes to any of the committee members. So we do manage that. So if you have a change in your committees, please let us know so we can update these lists. Courtney has also mentioned previously that we'll be moving away from Slack into Discord. So that's going to be something we'll do over the next few months, and hopefully it's going to be another powerful tool for us to continue to communicate in a more relaxed manner compared to emails in the future. And then we do all the administration for the Europlanet Society. That also includes, on top of what Anna is providing for you, legal consultation and managing all the membership aspects. And finally, we also handle all the society accounts, so the society and EPS accounts, so all the finance for the Europlanet Society. So, as we mentioned a few times already, the society is a membership-based organization, so we need members to be able to function properly. So we do encourage anyone to join either as an individual member or as an organization member. We'll be talking all over this week of what it means to be a member and what the benefits are. So that's subject to evolution, but that's the current membership benefits that we have for individual members. So many resources that you can now find into in the membership website. So that's support for proposal writing, some webinars, information about funding opportunities, etc. We provide EPSC conference discounts for all the members, opportunities to network. So, for example, at ERIM, but also at other events that we organize with the society, most notably the EPSC. Also part of the early career network that James introduced to you, and the network of region hubs that we have put in place. So if you have not already, please join. I'm going to finish my presentations on just a quick overview of the different activities that we funded over the past 3 years. So from 2020 to 2022. So that's 2020 is when we started to have this yearly committee funding scheme in place. So we open a call for funding for each of the committees. So basically anyone from your committee, so either regional hub or the outreach committee or any other committee, can approach any of the committee members to submit a project. So a project just has to have the backing of one of the committee. And then, so you can put the proposal online that is reviewed by the executive board and that decide to fund some of these projects. So in 2020, so we have 3 projects funded each year. So I'm not going to go over them all in details. You can find everything about them on the website, but they're very exciting projects and with a lot of impact. So for example, the first one has a lot of printing throughout Europe, so it was a very successful project. We also funded the Upgrad EPEC event with Upgrady, which is the EANA equivalent to EPEC. So EANA is the astrobiology networking association. During the Beacon meeting that was organized by the EAI, so the European Astrobiology Institute. We also, so some of these projects that were submitted to these funded committees, we transfer them to the projects if there are some nice synergy with the the Europlanet 2024 RI. So some of these projects were funded by the project. So for example, the Space Bus Togo that were introduced earlier. And then we have some prize for public engagement funding schemes for outreach projects that are awarded by the society and supported by different entities. So for example, this one is supported by the DFET in England. Am I forgetting anything? Yes, we also have prizes at EPSC that we won't go into many details, but that's also supported by the Europlanet Society. And again, a reminder that every committee can draw on a budget of €1,000 per year. You have it, please use it. Otherwise, it's gone for the year, and so it's not cumulative from year to year. So just a quick overview of the project that were funded this year. So there's Choreotron. So it's a project to create it's a physical simulator for the Coriolis effect to produce some meteorological events that occur in planetary atmosphere. And actually, it's going to be set up just outside this room, so you can check it out after the General Assembly. We also have funded the Astro Tour d'Ivoire. So it's actually a follow-up to the Togo Space Bus tour that the French have organized in Togo, and they're going to do it in the Ivory Coast this year with it's going to be a bit better because they integrate some feedback that they had in Togo. And then finally, the Space in Portugal Hub submitted the Meteor Mars project, which is an online tool going to be used to explore a combination of image taken from one of the cameras that is on the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter mission around Mars currently. So yeah, so that's one of also Anita is going to circulate one of the first projects we funded through this committee funding scheme, which was really successful. So as a reminder, this call is online right now. We've already circulated a couple of reminders through the newsletter. If you know someone who wants to have as a nice idea for a project that we can support, it's from 1,000 to 500 euros per project. Please submit it, don't hesitate. We have some money set aside every year for this sort of project, so it's important that we receive actual proposals so we can fund projects. So we'll send a reminder also tomorrow for this committee funding scheme that is going to be closed in 13th of July. So please submit projects. All right, so that's going to wrap up the Europlanet Society side of things and the committee. So if you have any questions, please let us know now before we move on to EPSC and then the project. So there are some questions online first, maybe, and then Ricardo.
So we have a comment, I think, or Eleni from the policy team has her hand up.
Yes, hi. So I'm Eleni. I'm talking on behalf of the policy team, coordinating for our project. So I think some of the stuff was already explained by Didier, but I would like to fill in with some information about the actions and the activities of policy team, as well as the general, let's say, strategy that we have been following. It's going to be very short. Unfortunately, I cannot be there because at the same time having to travel to give some talks for my own institute. So basically what I would like to say is that basically three aspects. So the first thing, when we started this project, it was back at the COVID era, just before the COVID era. So we had established a detailed policy implementation action plan, which unfortunately had to change over time because 2 of the years were kind of useless in terms of meetings, actual face-to-face meetings, which basically is the most important aspect of doing policy, as we all agree. So what I would like to say that is the policy work has focused on the following aspects. First of all, it was very important, I think this was mentioned by Didier as well also this morning, in establishing and maintaining an updated list of contacts which included MEPs, other policy contacts such as coming from the European Parliament, the Council of Europe, the European Commission, various science energy committees, space agencies, and so on and so forth. And that has been very, very handy because at all the sessions, the policy and industry sessions we organized at the EPSCs, we used to have in all of them high-profile people. High-profile people who actually participated and had a very positive impact on the outcome of these sessions and on the brainstorming that has followed. And that had shaped a little bit also things we did afterwards. But I think the best aspect of this was when finally the European Parliament opened last year, we were able in early this year to organize the dinner debate at the European Parliament around the theme of promoting the importance of space policies and the European space strategy. And there we had, I think, an amazing concentration of people coming from, it was, I think, around 40 or 45 of these high-level people. I just have to mention, for instance, that besides our regular MEP contacts, we were actually also co-hosting this meeting. This time we had the head of the EU agency for space program, who actually is also going to deliver a quick talk tomorrow online. And then we had Joseph Asbacher, the director of VISA. We had the president of the International Institute of Space Law, the head of DigiDefis, and so on and so forth. So very important people who became, so to speak, contacts of us. So not only we invite them to participate in these meetings, but we also regularly feed them with our material, the Europlanet newsletters, other stuff that we are doing, our policy reports, and also they feed us back with some information, which then we actually let's say, communicate to the society. And this is one aspect. So this has been going on pretty well. And by now we have an updated list of about 60 or more of these high-level contacts, which we can use at will. Well, providing that there is time, but it's a regular contact list. The other aspect we have been trying to do is to actually increase our output. So we have been regularly producing these policy reports, these monthly policy reports, until last year, the end of last year. We haven't continued this this year. And also we have been regular meetings among the team members and also some of the management meeting. And in particular, we have been collaborating with the industry team. This has been a very, very fruitful and important collaboration. So the industry and the policy team, we have organized the sessions, we have actually helped each other, and we have been taking up this regular contacts with the hubs. So I think that was a very important aspect as well, the internal communication, but also our output has been regularly being indicated, showcased in our website, in the policy website and industry website, where we regularly post updated news, plus funding opportunities, plus upcoming meetings and events. So let's say, to finish, that we can talk much more about details, and if you have questions, you can ask. But I think these were the three main themes, main work themes of the policy team: establishing and maintaining a list of policy experts, internal communication, and output. So I think it would be nice to be able to foresee this being further developed in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Eleni. Thank you. Thank you for that intervention. Great. Thank you. We have another question online, I think, from Vix.
Yeah, going back to the start of the meeting when you were talking about the executive roles and the volunteers that are needed in diversity. Oh, grief, my face is too big on there. I was just wondering, do you have the role descriptions? Because having worked with many membership organisations and societies in the past, this seems to be one of the things, is that people don't tend to put themselves up there unless they do actually know exactly what the role entails. I know there are people there that people can come and ask, but I was just wondering if you had the role descriptions.
There are terms of references for all of the committees and the boards on the website. I think those are always up for discussion and renewal, and looking at how they may be revised. I think this is something that we should be talking about this week, as to how things can be revised. I mean, one of the things looking at going forward with the executive board is that I found that the secretary role is enormous. And so in looking at people that have expressed interest in coming forward, a couple of people in the room that have expressed that, and we're looking at potentially having that as a job share, essentially. So having two people taking over that role, and breaking that down a bit more. And I would encourage anybody who has an interest in potentially taking over the role and is not sure about what the workload is going to be to also come and talk to us about how we can fit in with the constraints that people might have. I think Solmaz as well, maybe you would like to say on behalf of the Diversity Committee, because diversity is such an enormous remit. And we've had some discussions at EPSC about how that kind of manifests itself and how that can be covered, not just in geographical, but from the other aspects. So actually, let me bring a microphone to you, sorry.
Yeah, exactly. Just to cover what to complement what Anita said. So in addition to review, now we are in the process of reviewing all the documents of the European Society with all these changes, but then we also think about organizing training. So it's just enough if you've heard about anyone who gives very good talks about diversity topics, we can talk about it to see what is the opportunity, what is the next Europlanet event that we can then invite this person, come there, give this presentation or this talk. If there are any trainings that can be interesting, we can organize them. So this is the main workload that we have. And as we get closer to EPSC, then it's more and more about, all the details of what we need to think about, who to invite as keynote speaker for diversity or, yeah, so mostly it's about gathering idea and then to talk with Europlanet to see how we can make it happen. Exactly.
Super. Thank you.
Just also to complement, when we do the nomination form for the executive board members, we'll have some job description and what it means to be an executive board members and what it actually entails. And there's also some ideas that we've been discussing about having more dedicated roles for the different board members to reflect parts of the communities and act on more specific matters. I think Ricardo had a question also.
Yes, I had a question. Budget, so maybe for Didier or you, Jonah, because when we started the society in 2019, we were suddenly hit by the pandemic, and that made us change a lot our plans, and it made us be very conservative in terms of the use of our budget and our resources. We were really feeling about the future, and now the situation is much better. And so in one of the slides with the budget, there appeared the funding scheme for Europlanet, in which now the quantity that appeared there was 45,000 euros, which is a very large increase compared to the activities that would have been funded in the past. And maybe it's good if we are able to communicate to the society that we have bigger plans for the current situation and the future, because otherwise, I don't know if we will have enough applications for using that sudden budget in an efficient way, or maybe we'll have to disclose that. What are the plans for those 45,000 euros?
So the details of these 45,000 euros is that 30 of that is for the community funding schemes that we've used. Or the budget, so for 20,000 for the community funding schemes, and then 1,000 euros split in the committees, so 15 committees and working groups.
The global envelope.
Yeah, that's the whole funding that we've used. And as you can see, well, we don't see the slides there, but as you can see, there is very little. We've only used 20K out of that over 3 years, so that's not enough, and we need to fund more activities. And yeah, so also just on the finance, just to finalize on that, we've been also hit by the COVID, of course, because we had to do virtual conference, and it's been difficult, and we didn't generate as much revenue from EPSC as we would have otherwise. And also this year we won't have any income from EPSC, so. Alejandro, you have your hand up. Maybe you can ask your question.
Hi, hello everyone. Since you have this slide on, you mentioned before about the 1,000 euros that are available for the regional hubs or the committees in general. You mentioned that we have to spend this, otherwise this is lost. Just wanted to ask what you mean by lost, because well, the problem I see now, and as I said yesterday, I'm still learning in the learning curve of this, this Europlanet hub thing, and in my experience and probably in the past, it is, I mean, 1,000 euros is too little to do many things. So actually at the moment, we're just using it for basically for the website and very basic internal costs. And we, for example, we cannot use it for traveling. I mean, only for emergencies. So at the moment it's kept for emergencies, but it's very difficult to use it. And so that's why I wanted to ask what do you mean by lost, or if we could accumulate it somehow, what, yeah, if there's open for discussion.
This is not lost. This is not cumulative. The money is not lost, but we ask to the committees and the hub to use this money because they cannot accumulate through many years. But I agree that if you want to develop the network of the hub network, first we have to reanalyze what will be the role of the hub. We will have also to define in a document the role of the people acting in the hub, and for the continuity, for the sustainability of the Europlanet. And as Anne-Karin said, when we will be really operational, fully operational with the association, before we will have to reanalyze how we spend the money, how we found. We will have to write a business and a financial plan. Then this is in mind. This is always an idea. We discuss at the board level how to readapt the funding of the committees. This is why we have this meeting also to have idea, to see where are the priorities and so on. And then after, when we will have this information, it's much more easy to make a budget. But I recall that the income are not very high, and next year no income because we do not have EPSC. Then we have also a job to do to find funding. But this is also the role of hub to try to find national or regional funding because there are a lot of level of funding in Europe. In region, different type of funding, like the structural fund of Europe and so on. And there are a lot of analysis to do and to try to found the hub. That's also something that we can do. It's to provide information where are the sources of funding, not only in the RI business, but other. There exists also outreach proposal from the European Commission. This is a matter of proactivity of the hub when they will be restructured.
Okay, thank you for your answer. Yeah, about these 1,000 euros, I just wanted to give you my feedback, again, preliminary, that it feels very low to actually make good use of it. So that's why if it's either more flexible between the hubs or between, among throughout several years, maybe it's an option. I don't know what's the best way.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, Alejandro. I mean, I think one thing just to be really clear on is that, we've got this week to talk about these things. This was formulated back in 2018. I mean, the logic was that we have 15 committees between the hubs and the other groupings, working groupings as well. So, if you increase it to 2,000 or 5,000, it gets very big very quickly. And this is the logic of having 1,000 discretionary fund that people can spend without having to ask us. And then having the committee funding scheme where people can bid for larger amounts of money. So maybe, I mean, there are ways that we can look at this. I mean, maybe it's just that we need to have the committee funding scheme open as a rolling call, or more often, or other bits and pieces. But some hubs use more things and some use less things. And I think we need to look at this. I mean, the problem is the fairness and the scale, and also the fact that within the Spanish or Spain-Portugal regional hub, you are reasonably closely located compared to, say, the Southeast Europe hub that covers multiple countries and, you know, even larger distances. So I think the fairness of that is quite complicated and something that we can definitely talk about over this week and the coming road mapping exercise and how we manage that.
Thank you for that. Yeah, I'm happy to hear any news about these ideas on that we as a hub could ask for money. Honestly, I would have no idea whom to ask for money, or if we as an entity can actually get money from, I don't know, the Spanish National Research Agency or things like this. I would have no idea. So please go ahead to discuss it and come back to us if you find any source of money where we can ask for it.
Thank
Not
you.
for us, but for the scientists, of course. Yeah.
Thank you. I mean, there's lots of discussions that we have going on. However, we still, I'm afraid, are almost out of time for the General Assembly, and we still have several bits to go through. So thank you, and we will carry on those discussions. So we are going to briefly whip through, destroy the furniture. We are briefly going to whip through some of the other aspects of the Europlanet Society, and then we are going to go and have our photo taken by Jean-David in 3 places so that we have a selection of you looking possibly hot in different places. So the first thing that I want to just briefly run through is EPSC. We've talked a lot about EPSC. This is such an important thing for us because, as we've discussed to date, it has been our major revenue generator. Founded in 2006. These are the people currently responsible. So Lena Nowak, I think, giving this talk because I'm sort of the outgoing vice chair, and there is a vice chair role that somebody needs to step into to take EPSC forwards. But we will be meeting we will be meeting in October in San Antonio and online. So registration is now open and you can sign up now. And they have done their best to keep those registrations as low as they can. Anyway, next year is so next year is Berlin. The year after is Helsinki. Obviously, the local organising committees won't be appointed, or at least actually we do know our Helsinki local organising committee, but the Berlin one, because it was snuck in late because we had to change a venue because Helsinki wasn't ready for us, that's still being looked at. Our scientific organising committee is Stavro Ivanovsky and Akos. Where are you, Akos? There we go. So if you have any questions about EPSC, then Akos is probably the person to answer them. Or is the person to answer them. We also have a virtual organising committee currently chaired by Martin Roos-Serrault. I think we've learned a lot this week from this hybrid and having the lovely Aleph people who have been so wonderful and responsive and helpful. And yes, so hopefully this will be a learning experience that will make us be able to do EPSC as a hybrid event better. And we're really grateful, Thomas, and to you and all your colleagues for all of your work. EPSC is the largest planetary science congress in Europe. It's the annual meeting of the Europlanet Society. We usually have standalone meetings, or we often have standalone meetings. However, we do joint meetings, not only actually with the DPS, which are listed here, and we do those every sort of 4 years on average. But actually 2 years. We've got one this year, and we've got the next one in 2025 in Helsinki. That's all to do with things backing up because of COVID. But those tend to be sort of a third again as big meetings, particularly the European ones. We also do joint meetings with other organisations like IANA, and we would be open to suggestions of doing joint meetings with other people as well, and potentially other similar organisations in other parts of the world is something to think about in going forward. So as I mentioned, DPS EPSC 2023 will be held from the 1st to the 6th of October. The call for abstracts is out and the deadline is the 6th of July. So please, this week while we are here, not only can we talk about abstracts and encourage each other to put in abstracts, but also talk about workshops and meetings and anything from a Europlanet side that we want to hold during that programme. If anybody's going on in person, if we book it early, and if it's genuinely to do with the society, then that is free. We don't have to pay for it. So that is good news. But yeah, lots of discussions are ongoing between Lena and Karine and Stavro, Akos, and the LOC, the SOC, and so on. And they are doing their best to involve us and to make this a European meeting as well as a AAS one. So please do consider going to San Antonio. And if you can't do that, then please do join online. This is still very much our meeting, and San Antonio is a very interesting place. 2024 will be at the Frei University I'm sorry, it's been a long day, in Berlin, Germany on the 8th to 13th of September. This is the venue, it's part of the university, but it's actually a congress. It's a proper congress place with streaming built in, and we are grateful to the university for bailing us out at short notice, but we will confirm the details of the LOC and the SOC coming up. The next one after that will be another joint meeting in Finlandia Hall. Finlandia Hall is glorious venue. It's a 1930s concert hall. It has detailing for anybody that's into design things. It's wonderful. And we very much encourage you to go. There's been block bookings of cheap accommodation booked for several years now. Harry, where are you? There we go. Harry is part of the local organising committee, and we have confidence that we'll make an amazing meeting because we know that he's very good at doing these things because he helped organise the wonderful meeting that we had in Riga in 2017. Another interesting thing about Finland is that you have this enormous amateur astronomy community. ERSA has 10,000 members, which for a small country like Finland shows the passion for astronomy that there is there. So we hope that will be a fantastic place to go. And then if you are interested in hosting EPSC in the future, the call for 2026 and 2027 venues will open in January. So if you have a conference centre near you with a capacity of 1,000 to 1,500 participants, if you think that they can do streaming, if they can't do streaming, then we may kidnap the team that have been helping us here, or get Copernicus to do it themselves. But anyway, hybrid meetings are something we need to think about. Also, COVID, pandemic measures, air ventilation filters, and so on. We want to enable diverse and inclusive participation, so keeping costs low is important. We need, especially important, an active local organising committee. EPSC does not work without people that are passionate and will support that. And again, a round of applause to Peter and his colleagues that have really supported this meeting here, and all of the students who've done a wonderful job in helping us out. It's absolutely essential to the smooth running of meeting. And again, we want to bring EPSC to other parts that we haven't been to. We really want to include those underrepresented countries within the Europlanet community. EPSC, normally we have 6 to 8% underrepresented countries. Here we have 33.5 at this meeting in person, from the participation of our Slovak and Czech and Polish and other colleagues here. So it really makes a difference coming to countries, underrepresented countries, and being able to bring that sense of community there. So we need you. Get active. Contribute to discussions on funding programs, join the Discord, share news, respond to consultations. We want to know what you're doing. Sign up to mentorship. Edita, again, wave, because you are the mentor guru and have done an amazing job with that. We have lots and lots of bodies that you can get involved in, and we need new people. We need enthusiastic people. You've come here, you've made the effort to come to Bratislava. We really, really would appreciate your involvement. And it doesn't have to be a massive burden. You don't have to chair. You don't have to be the next Anne Karine or Didier, or you don't have to be taking on the board. Any kind of involvement and help is welcome. Even helping us on social media, drawing sessions, illustrating photos, whatever. All help is required and very much appreciated. We need active conveners and programme group coordinators for EPSC in 2024. We need new executive board members. Anyway, come and talk to any of the people that you've seen standing up today, and we are very happy to talk about it. Actually, I'm going to skip the questions and comments until the end because we're running late. So Nigel, go with the research infrastructure.
Right, okay. So as you have heard, the society and so on, and the way that Europlanet has worked has extensively been integrated with a series of Europlanet funded EC projects, particularly research infrastructures. So we're now on the Europlanet 2024 research infrastructure, which was launched on the last day of February 2020, just when we heard that our Chinese contingent wouldn't come because there was something funny happening in Wuhan. We have been extended for that reason into July 2024. So we have literally 1 year to go in this. And that will be it. There will be no Europlanet future research infrastructure in the format that it is now. And that's been stressed throughout there. We will instead be partners with others, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But the 2024 RI has been fully integrated with the Europlanet Society. Indeed, many of the activities of the research infrastructure, particularly things like transnational access and so on, we were hoping, and we still think this is the best way of doing it, we use the society as the conduit to getting down into people to explain what we're trying to do and get them to apply for things like the TA program. I'm just going to go down. Right. Oh. Where's it gone? Yeah, okay. So one of the things which this research infrastructure has done and its predecessors is it's very much focused on building facilities. And we now are a research infrastructure with a load of facilities. And that is a key message, a part of the Europlanet Society. We have built this infrastructure. It is unique in planetary science around the world. It's the largest coordinated collection. We've got field sites, we've got simulation and analysis facilities, and a wonderful set, as you've heard here, and some of you participated in the VESPA and other sessions, these virtual services. This is our legacy. This is the legacy of what the money that we've got from the European Union, more than 30 million over the last 20 years. And that is the tools that the Europlanet community, the Planetary Society in Europe has. And we've got to maintain that. And we'll be discussing a little bit how to do that tomorrow. But we won't go into all the details, but the sites in the current one, we had 7 field sites. Unfortunately, those in Ethiopia and China, because of political situations and pandemics and so on, we couldn't really use. But these field sites there. We have 24 European laboratories, and we formed an alliance with Korea. You can hear a bit about that tomorrow. We'll do that. I know the telescope session was incredibly, obviously, well attended because you went in far into the coffee and tea time, so obviously there's a good discussion there. That's something we've been trying to do for 10 or 15 years, and we finally achieved it. We funded 208 visits under the TA program. That is an awful lot of our activity and will lead to an awful lot of publications that would not have happened elsewhere. That is an awful lot of early career people who have had the chance to go to a facility and do research for their PhD or their postdoc work or their fellowship, which they would not have been able to do. So the last visits, if you have got one and you haven't had it yet, the last visits must be held by the end of May 24. Because we need the last couple of months to get the payments and everything done. But you can hear more about that tomorrow. And just to remind you, all these wonderful tools which I put up on the first day, these are the things that have been developed through these Europlanet funding from the Commission. And you'll hear more about that during the week, some of the machine learning. But there's nothing like this anywhere else. I mean, this has come because of some really brilliant people who have set these up. And this is a great legacy, which we pass on to the next generations. But on top of that, this research infrastructure built the community and tried to do the community support, the dissemination and the engagement with the stakeholders that you've been hearing about this week. And we were incredibly lucky that we had this funding to do it. And again, as a research infrastructure, we're really quite unique in this. This was put in place by the people who founded it. They said, if we're going to build a community, it's not just about providing scientific access to things, it is about these other activities which you've heard about today. I'll highlight, for example, the work we're doing in Africa, which is very exciting, but also the early careers, the EPIC. This was built into this program. And we're moving forward, we will now have to see how we're going to do this in future. We know that we're going to form partnerships. It's all going to be about future partnerships. It's going to be about ongoing discussions of how we can work with other organizations who are trying to do similar things, and I'll talk about that in a moment. Collaborating with these other research infrastructures in Europe. That's what the day of Thursday have. We will have many of the other research infrastructures in Europe in the space activity, those doing nuclear astrophysics, those doing observational optical telescopes, radio telescopes. They are here, they are coming here to join us. And on that Thursday, we will also have policy statements. We will have talks from ESA. We will have talks from Astronet. Some of you will know the Astronet roadmap. We will have talks from ESFRI, which is the Research Infrastructure Network. They're coming here to talk to us, and what we want to do is to work together. Now, we have made our first attempt to try and bring all these people inside the tent for something called the Space Sci Research Infrastructure. And this is what we put together, no longer just Europlanet. Europlanet is now brought in with all the others. This is the big one. This is, you know, the super ginormous one. We should get the results of this in July. Just to give you an idea, we've got 5 field sites. We have got 18 laboratory facilities for analyzing meteorites and so on. We've got 32 laboratories for simulating facilities of Mars, the Moon, Venus. We have got 7 nuclear accelerator facilities to look at radiation studies, the formation of the elements in the early stars, and radiation studies on effects on the Moon and Mars. We have got 7 radio telescopes. We have got 3 solar telescopes, and we have 20 optical telescopes. That's a pretty big infrastructure that we will be able to offer up. And as well as having all the virtual access, which we've got down here, and building in projects. That means that if this project is funded, we will provide to the space community in Europe 3,800 days of access. 10 years, okay? That, by any terms, is a lot, okay? 1,000 months of user support. 1,000 months where we can support the community to develop its science. And on the virtual access, we're anticipating up to 30,000 users. This is big, okay? But just to show you what we've done at the bottom here, this is, I think it's 21, I think we'll count them all. These are all the previous projects that the European Commission has funded in the space sector going back to 2000. And we've managed to get nearly all those projects to come and work with us. All these projects here, the legacy, they've all come into this project. So this is the next stage. And Europlanet is one part of that cog. And these are just some of the other research infrastructures that we'll be talking about. The KETEC is the nuclear astics, Opticon and RadioNet, the observational. ESCAPE is the virtual observatory. Eurolabs is the kind of borders between astronomy and nuclear particle physics. It's the kind of, you know, where did the first elements come from, etc. So we divided it into science. We divided it into the physical universe, the chemical universe, and the search for life. So we had a science case, as I mentioned to some of you this morning. This is the science. This is drawn down from all those roadmaps that people have written, because we felt we need to put down what are the highlighted sciences to do in the next decade. And this is where you'll be working from. And on the right-hand side, you'll be hearing about that, these presentations on Thursday. So come along to that, where we'll be talking about that at the meeting on Thursday. So this is the next step. This is Europlanet now, moving to work with these other organizations which have been listened to and play a part in a role in setting the landscape. And through the AISBL, we've now joined this club, pushing the planetary path, but also we also focus on bringing in things like astrobiology and astrochemistry. So come along on Thursday and hear more about that, because that's the future. And that's what we've done by forming the AISBL.
Right, so you will be allowed to go soon. Right, so this is where we are. You know this. We are here for the first Europlanet Research Infrastructure meeting. It's the first time we've tried to do something like this, where all of those workshops that we were going to hold, particularly those ones that we kind of got backed up because of COVID, we've tried to hold them all together this week and then make use of the fact that we've got lots of different people with lots of different interests all here together in a room. And thank you for coming to the General Assembly. This is really good that it's the most attended session that we've had so far. to create a discussion forum, to hold lots of training workshops, to have community events, to have EPEC Annual Week, to have networking and social events. We've tried to make it as low cost for everybody here as possible. So no registration fee, free accommodation. Thank you again, Callum, for sorting out that jigsaw puzzle. Travel grants. And we want out of that to bring new membership in and to bring a community to carry the, I should say, to carry the society forwards. So thank you also to the people online for joining us. We're very grateful for you for your participation, for your comments, and for your discussion on Hoover. We are just going to quickly run through those challenges that we set yesterday morning to find out how we're going. So challenge 1, individual membership benefits. Federica, Olivia.
Just started addressing the topic, the challenge, but we feel that this is a very important challenge, a very important question to ask ourselves, and it would be very useful to have a discussion with people who have different points of view from all over Europe, who know society from other countries. So we are inviting all people who want to discuss, to give their opinion on this topic, discuss it with us. At the moment, we have just questions and no answer at all. I'm not telling you the questions one by one because it would be too long, but please, I will come and talk to many of you, but please come to me and let's try to discuss on WOVA or in person what are really the benefits that we could give as Europlanet for individual membership. This is very important.
Superb, thank you very much. Right, challenge 2, James. I guess early careers, we've heard how you're getting on with thoughts for EPEC Annual Week, but more generally for this.
This push towards a more centralized EPEC and this society community feeling, these deliverables that I think we all asked for earlier. Instead of going over all that again, I'd just like to encourage anyone who is interested. We have another breakout. We have another couple of breakout sessions discussing this on Thursday morning, the 9 o'clock session and the 11 o'clock session. So I'll be there and some of the EPEC guys will be there. Anyone who wants to sit in on our discussion, please, you're welcome to. But no, as I said earlier, there's quite a lot of things we know we now want and are a list of actions that we will implement going forward. So we're quite happy. But please come and join us on Thursday morning.
Thank you very much. Capacity building, Fulvio. Are you speaking on behalf of this, or do we have other volunteers? Anybody else want to speak for Group 3?
Apparently, I am. Yeah, we had an initial discussion about the definition of capacity building, especially what your expectations are in terms of capacity building. But yeah, the first discussion was more or less around tapping into existing resources like European Commission grants in capacity building and so on, in order to facilitate the participation in planetary science of underrepresented groups. So clearly, I'm biased because I'm in Africa, but we discuss a lot also about East European countries. And but please join us in this discussion because we just really started it, and there is a lot to discuss and potential for good things.
Super, thank you very much. Okay, so industry and policy now. Marcel Hieronymo, you missed the morning, the Monday, or we missed you, more to the point, at the Monday morning session. Was anybody who was there at the Monday morning session? Yoga. Sorry, Yoga. You were there. You were.
Yeah, so we had a couple of people join the challenge, and we've had some discussions with the breakout sessions this morning as well. But I think it would be very helpful if people can attend the industry policy engagement session tomorrow afternoon, where I think we could get a lot more input and answers for this topic.
And I think early career people talking to industry is a really good thing.
And tomorrow morning during the early career industry session, Marcel Hieronymo will be joining the panel as well. So if you can attend that, you can ask really good questions as well. So just a good opportunity to bring up more conversation.
Thank you very much. Challenge 5, society structures, recruitment and participation. I think, Susan, you volunteered to speak for this.
I did. Indeed. Well, I was kind of told. So yeah, we've had some discussions about this, and I suppose one of the first analyses was, do the structures of the association, society, and research infrastructure work? And the answer is kind of. So I think one of the major things we've identified is that most people feel that the hub's committees are not really functioning either as was envisaged to start off with, or as the people who are in them envisaged them. So I think that's something I would really like discussion on. And one of the controversial suggestions was to get rid of the regional hubs. So please, people, react to that. If you like hubs, come and tell me. If you don't like them and agree, please come and tell me. So I think that's part of answering how can we do things better. And I think a couple of positive things that have come out of this as well is that things that do work in hubs are things that are done well in the RI and by other parts of the committees. So outreach, notably, and early career support. So those are two things that are very positive that come out of the hubs, but they're already things that are being done anyway. So I'm going to stop there, and please come to me if you have any further ideas on this.
Superb. Thank you very much. Right. Transnational access. That's a very inappropriate sticker for transnational access. Anyway, never mind. Gareth.
We actually have, 7 sessions over the next 2 days to be discussing about this. So I'm not going to say anything. We haven't reached any conclusions. Lots of questions about the practicalities of raising additional funding, because we fear that the funding from the central EC sources is going to diminish markedly in the future. So talks of sponsorship, working with industry, can we get host institutions to contribute? Do we give services, etc.? This will all be discussed over the coming sessions, both tomorrow and on Thursday. So I think that's more than enough for now.
Superb. Thank you. Again, not necessarily the most appropriate sticker. I don't know whether that actually is the one that you have, but anyway, sustainable access to virtual services. Stefan, Pierre, Chloe, Carlos even.
Okay,
wonderful.
cool.
Excellent. Good.
So we discussed yesterday about key aspects of that is how to keep the services running, and EOSC is there, and we should use that. So we should discuss further about how to move that. And we are talking about services, we are talking about data. How do we do that with EOSC? Stefan made this strong point that it's there and we should use that. There is also a key aspect that is how to keep data coming in, right? That's in particular, Vespa is the best example here. And the workshops, how do we move that on? So this is another key point here. There is one point that is about if we are keeping these services on and up, besides the open source aspect of that, it's now just opening here a parenthesis, another key thing, how to keep those open sources projects running. One of the things that we discuss is to contribute to open source projects and make those things merge. This is one strategy, again, to discuss further. Users authentication, how is the use and the users authenticated, how are they authenticated in those services on the cloud? This is non-trivial. We cannot, for example, use Edu Teams out of the blue because there are Gmail accounts there, and those resources can be exploited and used in some non-sustainable way. So this is a key point that should be discussed. And then also we should also in the software development slash technology, to interact with well-established structures or projects or institutions like IVOA, Pangeo, so on, RDA, so on and so forth, so that we have not only a sustainable, that was a good remark by a colleague, yes, not only sustainable from the technological and resource point of view, but social point of view. How do we keep services also spread in the society and to add benefit on that? That's it.
Thank you, and I'm really happy to see lots of discussion going on, and actually drawing on the expertise of some of the people that we have attending the meeting, like economists who add useful things to think about. So please do make use of the people and the expertise that we have here. Right, telescopes and pro-am support. Gregina.
It was not a large team discussing this question, and I think that this discussion will have to be expanded to observatories of our Europlanet telescope network, which should say, do they wish to remain in this network, for what conditions. I know that the majority of observatories for collaborative projects give free access time. So I think this is could be for smaller telescopes really important, and I think that this network should live.
Excellent, thank you. Challenge 9 was Edita. Was it you volunteering to speak?
Challenge is really a challenging thing because there were not many people to the stand because we have so many challenges in the society. But I shared the Google document on the online, and there is a stand. I invite everyone that previously and now who are running those services in Europlanet Society, like training, expert exchange, outreach, mentoring, and funding that we need to discuss. And I have some lines drafted that we need to keep going those things. We know that outreach is doing great in Europlanet Society, and it needs to keep going. But for example, we can organize trainings for everyone in the society, for teachers, for students, amateurs, and professionals. We can have joint online courses with other relevant networks, not only society networks, if it's online things. And our group of few members discussed that maybe one can organize cost action to apply for funding, or even Erasmus Plus opportunities, or local opportunities like university funds, agencies, or industry, if it's possible.
Thank you. And the Central Europe Hub discussion this morning, there was a lot of talk about mobility within that. Harry, I know that you're disappearing tomorrow, so can you make sure that that everything is fed back from your perspective on expert exchanges as well as that? And Edita, were you in the discussion? Yeah, no. So those of you that were, can you talk to Edita and just make sure that that all gets passed on? And finally, challenge 10. Wolf, is it? Oh, Solmas.
So I'm standing between you and dinner. How much dinner? No.
And a photo first.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay, good. There is another thing between dinner and you. So yeah, we talked about, actually the EPSC is a well-established event, so we haven't really focused on it. We went beyond EPSC. One main topic that came up, but we talked quite a lot about it, was the network of networks that Nigel mentioned the other day. We find that there is a need in the community for such a thing, to combine our voices, to strengthen our voices, to be able to go and talk with politicians, so that we need really an umbrella network that can combine us all together. It might also be a way to collaborate with other space-related topics like astronomy, high-energy particles, etc. Another idea that came out from our discussions, and it's actually very nice, I find it, is to have a European space capital. Wolf mentioned it, to have one European city selected per year, to have not only science-related meetings and conferences, but also space-related fairs, to involve schools, have some summer camps, exhibitions, to involve museums, etc. And that can be a forum for exchange with other initiatives. It's a great opportunity to lobbying. It would really strengthen our voice. We can then have meetings with politicians. They can really see how important is planetary science, etc. But this is just, we're just at the beginning of exchanging idea about it. We talk further on WOVA on it, and we have a Google document that is shared there. So if you want to get involved, if you have any idea, if you want to talk with us, so please just go there, write your ideas, and let us talk about it.
Superb. Thank you ever so much. Brilliant. Well, thank you very much for those updates. It sounds like there's lots of discussions going on, which is absolutely excellent news. So good job. Just to remind you, priorities, recommendations, task force for Friday morning. And again, just to reiterate again, we need you to maintain and grow a sustainable planetary science community. I hope we're going to have some really exciting ideas coming out over the next couple of days. But thank you for coming. Join the Europlanet Society if you haven't already. And now let's go and have our photos taken to prove to the Commission that we were here for our funding, but also to show everybody our smiling hot faces. Right. Oh, and virtual attendees, can we do a screenshot of virtual attendees? Can you turn your cameras on, please? And we will add you. Can you just turn your cameras on, and can we just do a oh, actually, before you can you just stand up and face that way? Oh, no, that's not going to work, is it? Oh, whatever. You what? Everyone on the two sides? Yes. Yeah. Come here, stand each side. And yes. How long will it stay? 3 months. Because we will have to. Yes. Yes, actually, that's a good point. Hoover will stay open for 3 months after the end of this week. So we've got 3 months to carry on discussions there and to keep the discussions and collate the discussions from there.
Thank you. Thanks to our virtual attendees. We'll be leaving outside not to take a pictures, but thank you for attending the meeting, and see you again tomorrow.
Thanks very much.